Beloved, there are treasures waiting for every woman who dares to recognize her invisible powers. The riches of the universe are not locked in vaults of stone, but in the unseen realms of spirit. When a woman awakens to her hidden powers, wealth flows to her in perfect ways, without strain, without fear, without loss. The first invisible power is imagination. All things are born twice, first in thought, then in form. When a woman dares to see herself already prosperous, clothed in ease, surrounded by beauty, she becomes the artist of her destiny. What she paints upon the canvas of her mind will appear upon the stage of her life. The second invisible power is the spoken word. Words are invisible forces, carriers of wealth or want. When a woman speaks blessings, wealth hastens to obey. To say, "All that is mine by divine right now comes to me with speed and grace," is to unlock invisible doors no man can shut. The third invisible power is faith. Faith is the golden key that dissolves every wall of lack. Fear says, "What if I fail?" Faith answers, "The universe has already succeeded on my behalf." When a woman walks in faith, unseen helpers go before her, preparing paths of plenty. The fourth invisible power is intuition. The still, small voice within is a perfect guide. It whispers, "Go here, speak there, wait now, act now." To follow intuition is to be led straight to open fields of opportunity, without wasted effort, without wandering. The fifth invisible power is loving magnetism. Love is the strongest force of attraction in existence. A woman who moves in love toward herself, toward others, toward life itself, becomes irresistible to fortune. For wealth delights to rest where love abides. And the sixth invisible power is gratitude. Gratitude multiplies all it touches. To bless even the smallest coin is to call forth rivers of gold. To give thanks for unseen wealth is to make it visible. Gratitude is the song that turns scarcity into abundance, delay into immediate supply. My sisters, wealth is not earned, it is revealed. It does not belong to the few, but to the awaken. The six invisible powers are already within you. Call them forth and riches will come, not by toil alone, but by divine law. Imagination is the womb of wealth, the sacred chamber where every golden opportunity is conceived before it takes form. When a woman understands the invisible power of her imagination, she realizes she is never poor, never lacking, never without supply. For within her mind's eye lies the power to create, to design, and to magnetize riches from the unseen into the seen. What she dares to see within herself, she shall one day hold in her hand. The universe always obeys the vision that is sustained with love, faith, and certainty. Too often, imagination is spent on fear. A woman may picture unpaid bills, empty cupboards, or lost chances, and without knowing it, she paints scenes of lack upon the canvas of her life. Yet, when she turns the brush of imagination toward beauty, abundance, and prosperity, the same law works in her favor. The imagination is not a servant of despair, but a messenger of creation waiting for her command. Every palace, every invention, every fortune the world has ever known first lived in the invisible chambers of imagination. When a woman begins to see herself as rich in spirit, rich in joy, and rich in supply, the outer world rearranges itself to match her inner vision. If she imagines a life of freedom, opportunities appear. If she imagines herself adorned with peace and provision, people and resources are drawn to her. She need not know how or when, she need only persist in the picture. The vision, once complete in her heart, will find its own channels of expression. Imagination does not ask permission, it creates. It does not labor in the soil of limitation, it draws from infinite storehouses. A woman who dares to see her future bright and her hands full of blessings begins to walk in a different rhythm. She no longer asks, "Can I afford this?" She declares, "All that I need flows to me in divine order." Her imagination lifts her above the world of appearances and sets her feet upon the solid ground of unseen abundance. To awaken this power, a woman may close her eyes and dwell in the picture of her desire fulfilled. She may see herself walking through the doors of her new home, giving freely without fear, or smiling as unexpected gifts arrive in her life. The picture need not be forced, it need only be felt. Imagination is not a struggle, it is play. The child within her knows this, for children live more in imagination than in doubt. Every vision cherished is a seed planted in the soil of the universe. If she waters it with faith and guards it against fear, it cannot fail to sprout. Wealth is not first a number in the bank. It is an image in the mind. To imagine prosperity is to prepare a place for it to dwell. Therefore, let a woman choose her pictures wisely, for what she holds steadily in imagination will one day step forth and greet her in the light of day. The spoken word is a current of invisible power, shaping worlds as surely as the sculptor's hand shapes stone. When a woman speaks, she releases forces that move beyond her hearing, carrying messages to the unseen realm, where they are multiplied and returned to her in kind. Wealth is not born of chance nor of effort alone. It is summoned by words of certainty, joy, and praise. Every fortune begins with a declaration, every blessing with a spoken seed planted into the fertile soil of the universe. Many women do not realize the weight of their own speech. They say, "I cannot afford this," or "Money never stays with me," and these words become silent decrees that shape their experience. Words of lack call forth lack, just as surely as words of abundance call forth abundance. The law is impartial, it obeys the vibration carried on the tongue. To speak limitation is to order limitation. To Speak increases to open the gates of supply. What is repeated with feeling is carved into the invisible pattern of destiny. The woman who knows her power begins to watch her words with care, not as chains of duty, but as treasures too precious to waste. She does not speak against herself, her life, or her wealth. Instead, she lets her lips be fountains of blessing. She declares every day, in every way, riches flow to me with ease and grace. She blesses her purse, no matter how small the coin within, and says, "You are filled to overflowing." She blesses her bills and speaks. Every debt is dissolved in perfect order, paid in full by divine supply. What she affirms in faith, she will one day see. The spoken word is more than sound, it is vibration carrying creative force. Words linger in the atmosphere, weaving realities. They are invisible messengers sent ahead of us, preparing opportunities, aligning circumstances, and moving people to act on our behalf. A woman who speaks wealth into her life sets in motion countless unseen hands to bring her desire into form. She may not know the channel through which it will arrive, but she knows the word has gone forth and cannot return void. Even in times of apparent lack, the wise woman speaks abundance. When her hands seem empty, she says, "My supply is full and flowing." When delays appear, she affirms, "Everything arrives in perfect time." To speak as if lack is real is to bind oneself to it. To speak as if abundance is present is to hasten its appearance. Words are not idle. They are architects building silently but surely. Therefore, let a woman guard her tongue as she would guard a treasured chest. Let her fill her conversation with praise, gratitude, and expectation. Let her words rise like songs of certainty, declaring wealth, declaring joy, declaring increase. For the lips of faith command the very forces of heaven and earth. The woman who speaks wealth lives wealth, because every word, once spoken with conviction, becomes flesh before her eyes. Faith is the golden bridge between the unseen and the seen, the invisible assurance that wealth already exists, even when the hands appear empty. When a woman walks in faith, she ceases to beg, to worry, to struggle. She knows that the universe has already provided for her in ways beyond her understanding. Faith is not hope, for hope waits. Faith knows. Faith says, "That is mine now." And with that declaration, it claims what no eye has yet witnessed. The world rearranges itself for the one who refuses to doubt. Fear is the great robber of wealth, whispering that supply may fail, that opportunities may slip away, that doors may close. Yet faith stands as a shield, breaking every fearful thought before it can take root. Fear looks at appearances and trembles. Faith looks at divine law and rests. A woman of faith does not measure her wealth by the coins in her purse, but by the inexhaustible storehouse of spirit, which cannot run dry. She walks with an air of quiet certainty, for she knows that supply must appear in perfect time and in perfect form. Faith is an invisible magnet. It draws resources, allies, and open doors with silent power. When a woman believes without wavering, she aligns herself with currents of prosperity that rush to her aid. What others call coincidence, she calls confirmation. What others call luck, she calls law. Faith places her in the flow of abundance where opportunities seem to chase her, where help arrives before she asks, where wealth finds her as surely as a river finds the sea. The woman of faith does not demand to know the how or the when. She releases her desire into the unseen, trusting that the way will be revealed. Faith is not anxious, for anxiety belongs to doubt. Faith is calm, knowing that the promise is already fulfilled. If an opportunity falls away, she does not cry loss. She declares, something greater is already on its way. This inner certainty is itself wealth, for it keeps her steady, fearless, and magnetic. Faith is strengthened by practice. Each time a woman believes for small things and receives them, her confidence grows. She may begin by trusting that the right word will come in a conversation, or that a forgotten need will be supplied at the perfect moment. As these proofs multiply, she dares to believe for larger things, for homes, for freedom, for streams of income. Each act of faith builds a foundation that cannot be shaken. To live by appearances is to live in limitation, but to live by faith is to live in freedom. Faith is the eye that sees beyond the seen, the hand that takes hold of the unseen. A woman rich in faith cannot remain poor in life, for she has already claimed her treasure in spirit. And what is claimed in spirit must, by divine law, appear in her experience. For faith is the invisible power that makes the impossible inevitable, the unseen wealth that always becomes seen. Intuition is the quiet voice of the soul, the inner compass that always points toward abundance and right action. It is not loud, nor does it argue, it whispers with calm authority, guiding a woman to her wealth without detours, without wasted steps. When a woman learns to honor this inner knowing, she discovers that she is never without direction, never without opportunity, never without supply. Intuition is the invisible thread that connects her to the wisdom of the universe, and when she follows it, doors open with ease. Too often, intuition is drowned by the noise of fear or the chatter of doubt. A woman may hear a gentle nudge to take a certain path, to speak to a certain person, or to wait in stillness, but the reasoning mind interrupts, demanding proof. Yet intuition is not of reason, it is of spirit. It knows what the eyes cannot see and prepares the way before the feet ever touch the ground. When a woman learns to trust this subtle voice, she moves in harmony with unseen forces that are arranging her prosperity. Intuition does not always speak in words. Sometimes it is a sudden idea, a feeling of peace, or even a restless stirring that says, opportunities. Not this way. It may come as a dream, a chance meeting, or a flash of inspiration. Wealth flows most easily to the woman who is sensitive to these signals, for she is guided around obstacles and led directly to her opportunities. Intuition's like a divine messenger, delivering instructions for prosperity step by step. When a woman ignores intuition, she may find herself striving, struggling, or repeating mistakes. Yet when she listens, she discovers shortcuts and miracles. An inner nudge may lead her to pick up a forgotten project that suddenly becomes profitable. A quiet voice may prompt her to attend a gathering where she meets the very person who unlocks her next opportunity. She may feel an urge to pause instead of rushing forward, only to find that the perfect timing was being arranged for her benefit. Intuition never leads her into loss, it leads her into abundance. To awaken this power, a woman must learn the art of stillness. In silence, intuition grows louder. In trust, it grows clearer. She need not force answers, she need only open her heart and listen. Each time she obeys a nudge and sees the good outcome, her confidence in this inner guide deepens. Soon she walks with assurance, knowing that she is never walking alone. The universe is speaking through her intuition, leading her step by step into her prosperity. Intuition is not a gift for the few. It is the birthright of all, yet it flourishes most in the hearts of women who are attuned to their inner world. It is the secret voice of wealth, saying, "Here is the way, walk in it." When a woman trusts and follows, she does not need to chase opportunities. They are already waiting at the end of her obedience. Intuition is the invisible hand that leads her directly to the treasures prepared for her life. Love is the mightiest force of attraction in the universe, and when a woman moves in love, she becomes a living magnet to wealth, opportunity, and favor. Love is not weakness, it is strength cloaked in gentleness. It softens barriers, dissolves resistance, and draws every good thing nearer. A woman who radiates love does not need to chase fortune. It is drawn to her as naturally as a flower turns toward the sun. Her loving magnetism creates an atmosphere in which prosperity delights to dwell. This invisible power works, quietly but powerfully. When a woman holds bitterness, envy, or resentment, she creates walls that keep wealth at a distance. But when she fills her heart with love, for herself, for others, and for life, she opens the floodgates of abundance. Love speaks the language of increase, and everything touched by it multiplies. A business infused with love grows. A household blessed with love flourishes. A woman who loves her path finds riches along the way. Loving magnetism begins with self-love. A woman who honors her own worth attracts circumstances that honor her. She no longer accepts lack, exploitation, or limitation, for love teaches her she deserves better. As she values herself, others value her. As she blesses her gifts, the world blesses her with opportunities to use them. The wealth that flows to her is a mirror of the love she holds for her own life. Yet love does not stop with the self. When a woman radiates love toward others, she becomes irresistible. People are drawn to her presence, eager to support, to collaborate, to give. Her words carry warmth, her actions carry grace, and doors open for her that remain close to others. Love disarms hostility, turns strangers into allies, and transforms competitors into helpers. Love is the unseen charm that makes prosperity want to stay. Even in the face of difficulty, love remains the higher law. To bless where others curse, to forgive where others cling to resentment, is to rise above the vibrations of lack and move into the frequency of abundance. Wealth flows on currents of joy, peace, and generosity, and love is the source of all three. The woman who loves her journey cannot remain poor, for her very spirit calls riches to her side. This magnetism is not forced, it is natural. Just as a fragrance fills the air without effort, love radiates and draws all good things without striving. A woman may sit quietly in gratitude and affection, and already she is strengthening her invisible power to attract wealth. Opportunities sense this atmosphere and are drawn to it. People feel it and respond with kindness and generosity. Love needs no advertising. It is its own signal to the universe. The greatest fortunes are not built on fear or cold ambition, but on love. Love for an idea, love for service, love for people. A woman who lets love lead will always find wealth following close behind. For love is the golden magnet, the power that gathers riches, and the invisible law that makes every blessing inevitable.